Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the RailCats Talk podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Savedich, and I give you a post-game show, sort of dealio post-game show of the 4-0 loss to the Chicago Dogs at Impact Field on the home opener day of the American Association. And what a it's kind of like what we've seen in spring training. Pitching's dominant, but there's nothing that the Railcats can do to score, and fielding comes back and bites them. I mean, let's just start at the beginning of the game here, okay? So the starting pitching was Trevor Lubking and Kyle Murphy, uh, who both or Trevor ended up getting hurt in the third inning. I think it's an elbow injury. He threw a wild pitch, and against let's look at my stat book here. Um, it was a wild pitch for Michael Krause. Or not Michael Krause. Danny Mars, I believe. It was Danny Mars that caused Krause to go to second. Um, an elbow injury. Don't have any updates. Hopefully get some updates here in the next couple days. It sucks because Trevor is the he's top 25 in the American Association. He is the ace for the Railcats. Um, but with that injury, I know the injury's been looming him for a couple years. I know he didn't pitch for a couple years because of this injury, and I hope it's not that. I hope it's just something he tweaked. He'll be out maybe one or two starts, and he can get back in and finish out the season strong. As he's started it, his pitching line, he gave up one hit, one walk, four strikeouts. He was dominant, as well as Murphy. On the other hand, Murphy pitched 5 innings, gave up two hits, one walk, six strikeouts. I mean, it was a pitching duel all the way. I mean, even the Railcats gave up 4 runs, but none of them were earned. No, zero earned runs. Zero. It is a lot of the time. It's just that fourth inning killed them. I mean, it was the pop out in foul territory for Burgess, and he just drops it. Oled and Williams making little league throws all over the place. I like I said, I didn't get to watch it. I was at work, so I can't really say they were little league throws. I have to go back and go back to the American or AATV and watch it. That inning at least, it just hasn't uploaded it by the time that I'm talking about all this stuff. But it's just the errors. The errors killed this team. The pitching was dominant. I mean, they gave up 3 hits. If you give up 3 hits, you should win a game. I mean, the Dogs gave up 3 hits. This could have been an extra inning game. This could have been a very, very entertaining extra inning game. And the next mistake, would have won it. But the mistakes were made in the fifth. I mean, all the runs came in the fifth. I mean, yeah, we gave up 6 walks, but the Dogs gave up 4. I mean, realistically, how that fifth inning played out, they could have been out of the inning sooner than later. At that point, I mean, when you look, I mean, you had 2 outs, before the shambles started to a certain extent. I mean, once the errors come along, that's when the issues come along, and that's what ended up happening. I mean, they could have maybe 1 or 2 runs would have scored. It would have been 2-0. You won 2-0 game, more manageable. But just the throwing the ball around, and then they got a couple hits along with it, but the hits drove uh, non-earned runs. So it's hard to say that Vincent or Phillips, it was on. I guess it's Vincent because Phillips didn't give up a hit. well, Fenton gave up 2 hits, and that's what. But it was the errors that caused those. So yes, runs were given up, but they weren't earned. So I mean, realistically, can you blame him? No, no. I mean, the stats. There's a reason for that stat is because you can't blame him for that, even though he got the loss and he still pitched very well. I mean, giving up 2 hits, but then giving up 4 runs, just like, oh, what is he supposed to do in that situation? I mean, that's a lose lose battle for him. When the team's not around him playing, they have to play better defensively. I mean, a lot of these are routine. Maybe you should, the foul out, the foul ball error should have been routine. The throwing errors, you make one throwing error, yeah, you may get the other guy, but sometimes you have to think about the situation. Like, oh, let's ring it back a little bit. Let's trust the pitching. The defense needs to trust the pitching. Now, I don't know if the pitching is going to trust the defense, but the the defense needs to trust the pitchers. It's one of those that the pitching staff. This is what Rogers built his staff around. This is what you're going to know the 2022 Gary South Shore RailCats for their pitching. The hitting, it's going to come along. Eventually, it's going to bring in. I mean, Michael Cruz is going to be stellar for this team. I know when you look at the batting here, let's see, Michael Cruz got a hit, Olin got a hit, and Davian Williams got a hit. The other people that are going to come, Wall Raven's going to get a hit. So, they're going to bring in these timely amounts. It just has to be on a consistent level. I would like to see more. You look, they had 12 strikeouts in the game. You gotta make contact. You can't be striking all the time. I mean, 12 strikeouts is more, almost as close to, or maybe even, maybe a little bit over halfway through the game. You have to limit those. Yeah, Chicago had 8, but that's 4 less strikeouts. That's 4 more potential hits you could have had, or 4 more potential scoring chances that they would have had. They get runners on base and then they just strike out. I mean, the last inning they just strike out. Just everyone just strike out. It's not. This team is young, and as RailCats fans, we have to understand that this team is still young. There's a lot of young players on this team. They're young, talented players is the difference here. The batting will always be there. The batting will come. They have to be more consistent. They have to get the timing down. Yeah, you look around. Who was it? The Cougars. They laid 20 runs in a game. Some people will just get fired right out of the gate. We can't let this leak into the next series, the next 2 series, the home opener. Like, if this is a consistent trend, it's going to be a tough season just scoring alone. Pitching, I think pitching is going to be fine. Yes, we're going to have games where pitching is going to be clunkers. We're going to face teams that they're seeing the ball well, they're hot, they're just going to crush the ball. It's just inevitable. That's how baseball is. Eventually, the RailCats are going to get hot. It's games like this where you shoot yourself in the foot, and it's hard to take the positives away from the negatives. There's more negatives than there are positives. The positives was the pitching staff. They did a great job. Trevor did a great job. Vincent did a great job. Phillips did a great job. I mean, when you give up 4 runs and they're not earned, you look at the defense and you say, hey, we'll get him next time. You know what I'm saying? This is one of those games where you put it on the back burner. You learn from it, you understand it, and then you evolve from it. And I think that's what we are going to see is better, happier times with the RailCats. You're gonna take this loss and you're just gonna wipe it away. Yeah, it sucks. It's opening day. You want to win, but the Chicago Dogs are a good team. When if you losing is what causes you, if shooting yourself in the foot is what causes you to lose to a really good team, you can kind of take it. If it was, like what Kane County did to Cleveland Railroaders, a 20-6 game, like that's not a competitive game. I mean, that's not a fun game. You're just got beat by a better team. This game, it was mistakes. Who knows? Maybe at the end of the year, the RailCats and the Dogs are going to fight for the top seed in the North. Not the North, the East. I forgot the alignment. The East. You don't know how it's all going to ravel together. It's just I guess losing that way is more painful um, than anything. I mean, I would rather lose a 1-0 hard fought game than lose 4-0 and shoot yourselves in the foot. I would. It, it, all in all, that is said, it was still a good game. I mean, they could have really realistically, that game could have unraveled to be even worse. They held their composure. The pitching held their composure. The defense came back around, and you held them for another 3 scoreless innings. Yeah, the fourth or the fifth clunker. It is what it is. You let it be, and you move on. I guess that's the one really good positive thing to take away from this, is that they didn't let a 4-0, you know, 4-0 or 4-run fifth turn into a 20-0 game. And you got to take it that way. That the hitting, I think, still needs to be a little bit more patient. I think that, even if it's a ball that you may not be able to handle, just foul it off, find a way to get through a gap, get through a hole. I think you need more, a little bit of line drives, not so many, not so much flyouts or pop outs. I know it's easier said than done. I think also, you had a first, you had an inning, the first inning where the Dogs make a mistake, and Javion Williams gets on base, but then he gets picked off going to second. I know that Murphy had a slow delivery, but that's another mental error to take. You could have really put the pressure on the Dogs, and you could have really, put them in a crunch right away, but then you shot yourself in the foot. And it was a tough game, tough loss. But, still one game out of 99 more games. You can't win them all. They're going to get wins. They're going to be competitive, especially with this pitching staff. That's going to be the one thing, that they're going to be competitive. And that's the one positive thing, to take out of all of this, is that pitching staff is going to be good. Yes, like I said, they're going to be clunkers, but I still believe this team can compete for a playoff spot and maybe be able to compete for the top spot. Maybe. I'm not going to put it that high, just yet. They still have to prove a lot, especially the hitting wise, because, you can't win a game if you can't score. But looking at tomorrow, it looks like Cuello's going to go, or Cuello. The L's throw me off. It looks like Edward Cuello is going to go for the Cats. I forget who's going to go for the Dogs. I didn't catch that much. But, be sure to listen to Ryan Zimmerman on Mixlr. You can listen to every home game, or not every RailCats game for free. He's done an outstanding job. He really does his research. He paints the picture for you. He keeps you entertained. The production value of this year has gone up tremendously. I know last year, in between innings, they would just mute it. And then you kind of look off into space. And then all of a sudden the game's back on. I think this year they've really turned it into a broadcast. It's very entertaining. Yes, it may be one person, but Ryan Zimmerman has done a very outstanding job so far, even in spring training. Uh, but by himself, he will give you what you need to know. He will tell you the little ins and outs of everything, and he's done a very great job. So I would love for you guys to give him praise, follow him on Twitter, all that other good stuff. Make sure to listen to him. He's done an outstanding job so far. But let's just go ahead and run through what RailCats did something. And so Trevor Lupking went 2 2/3 innings. He got hurt, but gave up 1 hit, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. Vincent got the loss here. Pitched 2 innings, gave up 2 hits, 4 runs, all unearned, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. And Phillips went 3 innings and a third, and gave up 3 walks and 2 strikeouts. And the winning pitcher was Kyle Murphy for the Chicago Dogs, and he went 5 innings, 2 hits, 1 walk, and 6 strikeouts. Cruz with a single, and Olud had also had a single, and so did Davian Williams. Those were your batters that hit productively. We had a couple walks. Walraven had a walk. Olud had a walk. And Lingual had 2 walks. So, he only had technically 1 in-bat, and he walked 2 of 3 times. So that's good for him. He's your second leadoff hitter. But let's see, KV Edwards, Williams, Olud, Burgess, and Javian Williams all had 2 strikeouts to their name as well. Looking at some of the errors, Chris Burgess had 1, Olud had 1, and Davian Williams had 2. So yeah, it was a good game. I think tomorrow should be a little bit better day. But that's going to wrap it up for me. I'm your host, Kyle Savedic. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. But I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and go Cats.